Hello and welcome to my channel. Man, it has been a while between uploads here on YouTube. If you follow me on Patreon or you're on my Patreon, you know I've been posting like a mad woman on there. And here's the reason for that. Basically, on Patreon, I can still do story times. I haven't had a story time happen yet that I feel comfortable sharing on YouTube. I did a story time a few weeks ago about Pride Month, and I just felt like that one was too personal. I did a story time before that. You know, there's things that have happened, but I definitely have learned my lesson and have had to filter out. Like if it's too personal, and if it's something that I might regret the World Wide Web knowing about later on, I'm like, save it for the Patreon audience. And some stuff I don't even save for the Patreon audience. You know what I mean? So I think it's just part of my evolution as a creator to be like, all right, so remember, whatever you're putting out still needs to be curated. Even if you're wanting to be authentic, even if you're wanting to be vulnerable, like curate your stuff, man.
Okay, so just really quickly, I have to go back to something that I said a couple weeks ago, or an example that I brought up a couple weeks ago when I talked about the drawback of oversharing online, or like making your brand your own personal stories and like going into deep detail about your life. And I talked about a creator named Elise Myers, who I was like, she's an example of somebody who does it, but she does it well because she's on TikTok. She's a married woman. She's a white woman. She can get away with, girl, boy, he, she, they, whatever. They done got to Elise. I'm on TikTok this week, like I am almost every minute of every day, and I see this video, and she is in tears because somebody has come out and gone on the internet and started making posts about her. She's annoying. She's exploiting. And the thing is like nobody really knows like what was said. But she was in tears. She was like, man, I'm a real person, and, I had a whole career before this, and, I'm just trying to be myself. And so when people write these ugly things, and what was so nice was that, she's got 1 million followers or whatever over on TikTok. She is a part of like the tribe of like TikTok creators. So there were all these big creators and small creators too, but that came out with their verified check marks and that were like, hey, no, that is not what we do here, like sticking up for her. And I was like, that's nice. But man, it just served as a warning again to me that like, you got to be careful. Like if you share things, share discriminately, and like everything I said in my old video that I made a couple months ago. But yeah, I just wanted to do a quick follow-up on that because that popped up on my FYP this week, and I was like, damn, they done got to Elise too. I thought she was safe, but no. I think some people said something along the lines of she's like making up the stories or blah, blah, blah. And it's so crazy because it's like, how boring do you think everybody's life is? Like people really do live adventures and they're allowed to talk about them, but whatever, man. So anyway, seeing that, I say that because I had wanted to share one of my stories to the main channel. But I was like, nope, because that crying and stuff she was doing, that's exactly what I was doing when I first saw all the reaction videos and stuff about my story times that I would do. I was just like that, but I'm not going to hop up on the internet and cry because I know people don't care, so I'm not going to do that. But yeah, I just wanted to share that. If you aren't on TikTok and you didn't know, I just wanted to follow up because not even the person that I thought was safe from getting like jumped on for being herself is safe, which is sad, but it's the way it is.
So that's one thing. The other thing is that I've just had a lot going on in my personal life for whatever reason, which brings me to the point of this video. 2022 is not going how I expected it to at all. I don't know about you guys, but first of all, it's whipping by so fast. It is the middle of June right now. I count today, June 13th. We're in the middle of June. June only has 30 days. So it's the middle of June right now. Like, what happened to the year? And I'll be honest with you, this year has not gone at all like I've expected, And I think when you have a lot of things coming up that you didn't expect, it's harder to be like, to do something consistently. Back last year when I first started YouTube, I was able to just, pop out videos because every day was pretty much, I had a routine. I was in the same, it was just a lot of not new things happening, so the content creation was really the only new thing that was happening. And now life wants to life and not in the ways that I expected. And it does make kind of posting on these longer format videos a little harder, especially when I have to curate myself and bite my tongue the way that I now know I need to do when I post on YouTube. So let's talk about that for a little bit. First of all, I have a couple of new subscribers, and that's crazy, but I know where it comes from. For some reason, randomly, that damn pretty privilege video blew up again in May. It got like 78,000 views after like laying dormant for a really long time. It got a whole bunch of views. And I think it's because there was another creator. If I can find her video, I'll put it up here. But she made a video about it. And so I think the algorithm was just like, hey, you want to watch this one? And when I look at the analytics, people really don't. They only stick around for maybe like 5 or 6 minutes. But, it definitely brought some people to the channel. Also, my last story time, my last long one about, the failed meeting with the person I thought was my soulmate, that picked up some views in May. So I have some new subscribers. Hello. Let me get to the point of this video though, which is just talking a little bit about this year. So let's first talk about the good things that are happening that I did not expect. The first good thing is being able to sort of live off of content creation. So I had a feeling that that's what life might be like in December. But when I first moved out and was like on my own again, I was really operating a lot with like my savings and, so on and so forth. So I didn't really, financially, I wasn't really invested, right, in the career of content creation. I was not like, I've got to do this and this to make that. Like, I did have a number goal I wanted to meet, but it was not life or death. And then that sort of, well, it's still not life or death, but then that sort of switched to where it was like, okay, like you really are paying your bills from this. And that was such a beautiful thing to see. You want to talk about like being rewarded for having an abundance mindset. And when I say that, I'm talking about, I didn't have any fears about whether or not this would work for me. And I've just been positively surprised ever since I started doing it. Does that make sense? Like I always thought I'll be fine. I didn't know if I'd be super wealthy. I didn't know if I would, be one of those crazy people that's like, I bought 7 cars and 2 mansions because of YouTube. But I knew like that I would be pretty good, that I'd be all right. But it still blows my mind when I think about the fact that I'm doing certain things and it's like, girl, this is all from making little videos, And so that's definitely been a good thing that's happened this year. Another good thing, I've got a little bit of press, not a lot. I thought it was so cool when Forbes magazine reached out and offered to, we talked about what we talked about. That was cool. So that's neat. And also another good thing is I am branching out more with different types of content. So if you've seen me over on Instagram, if you follow me over on Instagram, a lot of you don't, but if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I have started dabbling in Reels. I always wanted to go and make things on TikTok. I haven't done that yet, but I have been dabbling in Instagram Reels. And I've just been focusing more on creating comfort content. And so by that, I just mean things that make people feel good and things that in return make me feel good. Like when I watch them and I put them out in the world, I'm like, ah, that was funny. Because honestly, like anybody who knew me before I started YouTube, that's what they thought I'd be doing, like comedy stuff, skits, like whatever. Something new for me is like, the vlogs and trying to do like beauty content or, like transformation, stuff like that. That's new stuff for me. That's being received well. And that's good. I like that. Okay, let's talk about the bad things. So at the beginning of the year, I said that I did a numerology video because I think it's fun. I used to do it like at New Year's Eve parties and stuff. I thought it was fun. And I did a numerology video. And in the video, I talked about just like looking at your own personal, like whatever, and deciding or understanding where, you might be coming from as far as like the energy of your personal year is going to go. So like a year 1, you're going to be planting a lot of seeds. A year 2, it's going to be peaceful, just gathering resources. Year 3, social. Year 4, hard work. Year 5, freedom. Year 6, I talked about what the number 6 means, but I don't know if I really explained. Like when you're in a year 6, it's a lot of people meet their spouses or they get divorced in the year 6. A lot of people welcome children. A lot of people find out that they're pregnant. A lot of people get married. A lot of people get into a job that they're going to have for a long time. Year 6 is all about domestic commitment and contentment. And so going into this year, like it doesn't surprise me that at the beginning of the year, I was like, I'm going to date again. I'm going to try. It's for 2 reasons. The first reason, I was aware I was in a year 6. And after a chaotic year 5, I was ready for like some deep, committal energy to come into my life, right? Also, I'm 38 years old. And for a long time, for whatever reason, well, I'll explain the reason, but for me, 38 was a year of kind of like the last year of my youthful lady years.
Okay, so before I continue, real quick, I have got to show you guys this clip from a show that I watched called Working Moms. Um, Basically, the scene is a character has been talking about like this big birthday that she has coming up. And they're like, oh, it's got to be 50, it's got to be 40, whatever. And it eventually turns out that she's a little bit younger than that. But I love this scene because even though it's written for comic effect, it's exactly how I feel about being 38. And please excuse the fact that it is just me recording my TV screen. I don't have time for copyright, whatever. Okay, let me start off by saying copyright is no joke. I actually had gone in and removed the audio completely and was just going to talk over the scene. I still got flagged for copyright. Netflix is not playing no games. So I had to screenshot the individual panels. And I don't know if you can see, like the closed caption was on when I was watching it. I'm sorry, this is so ghetto, but this scene just really encapsulated for me how I honestly feel about being 38. And so I wanted to share it. But basically, you can see here there's a character who is 38 years old, and she's like, this is 38's your last good year. 40 is the big one. 39 is just the next step to 40. And then after 40, it's all over. And even though I don't feel like that, I definitely did feel for me with regards to like, I wanted to have kids before 40. That's just how I felt. I was hoping to meet someone before 40. I was hoping to get that thing on the road before 40. I wanted to have, a great, passionate young love before 40. I'm going to talk more in detail about why I was so hung up on 38. But I will say that scene was perfect. So if you can read like what they're talking about, you can see. And I'm just so upset that I had to show it to you this way because, wow, Netflix was like, you will not show our stuff. You won't. So I didn't.
Like once you hit 40, for me, it's like, you're a woman. And that's probably because I'm a millennial. A lot of people would say, girl, once you hit 30. But, my generation, we're a little bit, we took a little bit more time to get there. So for me, it was 38. And that's for a couple reasons. Number one, I had grown up like through my adult years, hearing women tell me stories of, well, I didn't meet my husband until 38. I didn't get pregnant for the first time until I was 38. But that wasn't until I was 38. Like it happened to me like 3 or 4 times as I was moving through life. So you know how some people, they're like, if this doesn't all happen by 30, I quit. Or people are like, if I'm not this by 25, I'm not doing it. I've heard people refer to their Jesus year, 33, right? They expect that to be a great year. And I myself looked at 35 potentially because of, I'm just aware of like Saturn returns and it's like halfway to the next Saturn return, which is at 56, almost halfway. So it wasn't surprising to me when a lot of women that I knew got pregnant at 35. Like it wasn't surprising to me at all. I was like, yeah. But I knew after having kind of a rough 35, being in a pandemic in 36, kind of having a weird chaotic 37 where I was like trying to get my bearings and like figure out who I was again. I was like 38 is going to be my time. This is going to be my time. This is going to be my season to receive long-term things, to receive things in my life that I've never had. Specifically, if I was going to meet somebody in order to have a long partnership, in order to be able to one day conceive, I don't know. Yeah, this was the year that low key I had hope for. And so for it to start off, at least romantically speaking, so ridiculous the way that it did start off. And I cataloged that for you guys and some story times until I figured out that the internet was making fun of me. And so I just kept that stuff to myself. But what I noticed about the beginning of my year was the first thing was that it was very much about building my own home and finding a home. Well, not building literally, but like finding home for myself and what that meant after staying again with my parents for like 2 years. And in fact, this video and another video I post this week will be the last videos you see here because I'm moving this week to where I'm going to stay more permanently for at least hopefully for the next couple years. But yeah, so I knew that energy was there, and it was kind of like right off the bat, like you got to go, like you need to reestablish. Like I said, financially, it was like, okay, this isn't just something that, you play around with, but you could actually make a living at this. That's very year 6 energy. Yeah, but when it came to romantic, I mean, my God. And I think that was one of the most upsetting things about that for me was just that it wasn't supposed to be like that this year. Now, of course, it can be like that in any year, whatever. But I really thought that this would be my season. Like I thought that this year would be my year. And specifically, I say my season because this is summer. We're here. We're officially here. Well, 8 days from now, it'll officially be summer. And I have never had, in my 38 years of life, I've never had a summer of love. I've never had vacations. I've never made out with somebody under a waterfall. I've never taken walks along the beach. I've never, and people can say, because people do say this, they'll be like, oh, well, it doesn't, age is nothing but a number. It doesn't matter. It's crazy because inside I still feel like I'm very much a little girl. I still feel like I'm 13 years old waiting for somebody to ask me to the dance, And it's crazy because to go through every stage of your life, to like watch your body change. It's crazy to watch, like I just finished dyeing my hair the other day, like, cause I had all grays here. And so I had to go ahead and touch it up with some Clairol Fade, no, not Clairol, Dark and Lovely Fade Resist. It's great. It's a great product. But it's crazy to go from, being a little kid, all black hair, your body runs one way to like your body changing. Now you got gray hair to witness the physical results or the physical evidence of your body changing, of you growing up, but your certain aspects of your life never change. Right. And I was talking to somebody about this the other day and they were like, we refer so often to like seasons. But after a while, when something is just one way for a long time, it then becomes an era. And then after a while, it's just the way that it is, And for me, I just was really hoping that ideally what would have happened with this beautiful year 6 energy was I would have met someone in the spring. So that means I wouldn't have had my heart demolished in February. But I would have met somebody in the spring and we would have bonded and grown close and really felt like there was a future there for us. And then I would have gone into the summer and I would have had my first summer of love. I would have had somebody to swim with. I love swim. I love outdoor activities. I love to hike. And it's hard when, it's tough when at this age because especially I remember being in California, the summers would happen and all the other teachers would be like, oh, well, we're going to go. I'm doing this with my boyfriend. I'm taking this trip with my husband. We're going on this. Me and my wife are taking. And I was like, shit, once you get older, it's just very rare to organically have people in your life who are at the same stage, who want to do the same things you want to do. And my parents, for example, my mom likes to do certain things. My dad just wants to be with my mom. So he suffers through vacations that he would never go on. And she does it for him. And I'm like, I would love it if I had someone in my life where I'm like, hey, I want to go swim in this ocean. I want to go and instead of having to be like, okay, well, does that work for you? That's my partner. So they're like, yeah, okay, we'll do it. And when I want to do something, we'll do, you know what I'm saying? As within reason. Right. But, anyway, I was hoping that this would be my season. And even though I do want to say, I know I say out loud a lot of times oh, I don't think these things will happen for me. That's true because that's really what I can see. That's what plays out in front of me. But 38 had always been right here. And I had heard so many testimonies of women who were like, yeah, man, I didn't think. Speaking of which, one in particular, the one that struck the most was growing up. I had this friend, and she had a family member, and beautiful woman. She just trying to make it. Was single all of her 30s. She turned 38, gets married, gets pregnant, like gets to travel the world with the husband that she marries. And it was like, okay, like in my mind, 38 was the final goalpost. Like if things are going to happen for me, 38 is the age. And so, of course, I had already been, thinking going into this year, like, okay, well, it would be great if I could celebrate this time with someone. It would be great again, because I've never had those experiences. And I think anytime somebody's like, oh, just wait, it'll be your turn to be, they don't understand what it's like to have season after season after season pass, and it's never your turn. It's never your season. It's never your time. And that was something I was dealing with and trying to process a couple of weeks ago. I basically came to the conclusion that, well, yeah, you heard a lot of great stories about it, but you heard a lot of great stories about a lot of things, and they didn't happen for you. Like I heard love stories that happened from people dating online. It didn't happen for me. I heard, wonderful story. I don't know. I think I heard the other day my third story of somebody meeting someone on a plane. What? That never happened to me. You hear people meeting through social media. That's never happened to me. You hear people, oh, I was just at the coffee shop. Never happened to me. So, I was just like, you might as well just let go, like divorce yourself from that idea to save yourself some heartache, and realize that it's great to hear good stories, but nothing is ever a guarantee. And while I would have loved if this was a summer of love and, I finally had one of those, while I still have enough gray hairs to confuse people, like, is she 40 or is she 29? What's going on? I would have loved that for me. It wasn't meant to be. And so instead, this will be a summer of staycations. I'm lucky to be in a big city where there's a lot of stuff to do. And that's one of the reasons why I started my little vlog series over on Instagram, my solo dates. But I realized that there's a lot of things that I wanted to do with like a date that I won't get the chance to do. And so I want to try out restaurants. I want to go, do so on and so forth. I want to try out like cute little boutique hotels that are in the area. And there are things that I would have loved to, like, oh, you have the reservation? Let's meet at the bar, But instead, I'll just go by myself. And because of this job, I have afternoons free. I have, I can go in on a random Wednesday and say, hey, I spent today at the, whatever. I love taking big vacations, but I think staycations are cool. And so I'll be doing a lot of that this summer. And finally, this will be a summer and a year of manifestation. So for me, I'm not the kind of person that believes that just because I ask for something, it's going to be given, because that's just not how life works. You can look out and see that that's not how life works. But I want to make it clear the things that I want so that I can get into alignment, so that if I am allowed to receive them, then I'm welcome to receive them when they come around, if they do indeed come around. Does that make sense? There is a song by an Australian singer. His name is Ben Foster, I think. I'll put him up here. And he has a song called, what is it called? I've been worrying, my chances are here. I've been worrying, my time is up. Oh, he has a song called The Fear. And I listened to this song a lot in my 20s. The lyrics are like, I've been worrying that my time is unclear. I've been worrying I'm losing the ones I hold near. And then at a certain point in the song, he just repeats over and over to himself, I will become what I deserve. I will become what I deserve. And so that's kind of like what my idea of manifestation is. It's like whatever you pour into yourself, it's a reflection of what you hope to receive in life. And I'm not saying you're going to get everything you want, but you got to do the pouring in. You have to do the cultivating of yourself. You have to get into alignment so that if those things do become available, you can receive them, if it's in the overall will and destiny for what you're supposed to have in your life. That's how I look at it. So you might be different. It takes all kinds. You do you, but that's how I look at it. Okay, so that is just my cute little check-in for 2022 that I wanted to do. I'm going to update another video soon, but I did want to check in with you all because all of a sudden it had been like a month since I posted anything, and that is not acceptable. That was not what I intended. Of course, I was posting like a mad woman over on Patreon, but I know that's not everybody's style. So I definitely need to pick up the pace and post here more. So that is what I'm going to do. All right, as always, thanks for watching.